So if you look on YouTube right now, you see all these videos posted on Bitcoin dump, Bitcoin death cross, all these things, Fibonacci's lines, la la la. It's all bullshit. So here you go. You got the SPY, like I talked about, coming into Wednesday. Fed Powell talks at 2:30. The rate cut at 0.075 comes out at 2 o'clock. There'll be volatility that will come into the market 201, 202, 203, right? PM on Wednesday. And so what you're going to see is, barring any news that is not data driven, meaning if something in Europe doesn't happen or something doesn't pop off around the world, most likely the next move is going to be coming into Wednesday. You're going to see the volatility come in, test that ascending angle here, sell off real quick. That's the move on Wednesday. You're going to see this pop and drop on Wednesday. That's usually how it plays out, okay? Market closes at 3 o'clock and Fed Powell has his meeting at 2:30. So that's going to move the market. So you need to watch between 2 and 3 o'clock, watch the Bitcoin charts and watch for this pop and drop. And so what you'll probably see Wednesday is this pop, it will drop, and then you'll look for Wednesday night futures, the continuation pattern. How does the market digest that news? What are they going to, the analysts going to go home and make all the plans based on what Powell says? If it's not dire news, if it's not something that surprises, then you're going to see a continuation upwards, either to that critical target right there at the 403.92 is pretty much the range. Okay, and at that point you have to watch pretty closely. So that would be Thursday, Friday, watching for the 403.92. Okay, if we can't break above that 403.92, if it gets stuck there, moving Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, and you start to see this consolidation, then you got to be very aware of what's going on with the European stuff, and have a look at what's going on with other news catalysts. But based just on the data, if it is not dire, end of the world, if it is neutral, somewhat bad, and not surprising, the market is likely going to rally from here. It's going to push up into this, around this boundary right here, this horizontal support at 394. We'll probably retrace on a pop and drop, and then Thursday, Friday, you'll see a continuation higher. So like I said for Bitcoin, watch. If you go back to another video, I talked about this exact thing. This kind of V shape, right? And then a retrace, bounce. Now for Bitcoin, it's different because it's risk on. So this continuation pattern has a lot more to do with the SPY in a big way, right? So you got to be careful, but you can long here at, depending on what you're trying to long and how you're, if you're using leverage or whatever, how real careful you want to be, around 18,988 would be a decent long, and I could dial that even better if I was going to trade on leverage. But just to give you an idea, right? So then the trouble with Bitcoin is that it can be lagging right now. And so Bitcoin on the news, okay, it makes this pattern. Let's say we get a continuation on the SPY, so pay close attention to what I'm saying. Thursday, Friday, you get the continuation to those target ranges on the SPY, but Bitcoin can get stuck here, or it could get stuck here, okay? Right, so you need to be aware of that possibility if you go long, right? The other thing to account for if you're going to trade long, because we are in a downtrend, is to pay attention to the all of the catalyst world news. But there's no reason right now that leaving end of September, moving into the first week of October, we should not test. We definitely could test, I'd say, right around there. So if we have this, I'll even put a line on here and we'll see how close I get. All right, somewhere around 22285. Okay, that would be over coming into the first week of October, because this could lag. That doesn't mean also at the same time it is Bitcoin, it could do one of these. Okay, you could have Thursday, Friday, and it can just rip. The reason for that is these exchanges know what's coming, right? They are well aware that the wheels are going to fall off the bus. They're not just going to let a bunch of people pile into these shorts here because everybody's expecting this volatility this week. You have to understand that the bigger picture here with the markets. Bitcoin it's basically a very small player in this whole game. It's really nothing. And so when you're talking about the bonds market and these S&P and what's going on over in Europe, and this is nothing. So these players in this game, they need to understand that these exchanges aren't going to just somehow magically allow Bitcoin to dump when the S&P over the next 3 weeks, likely based on the news. Remember, it's data driven, so if the news isn't crazy, that's not going to happen. They're not going to pay out all those shorts. How do I know this? Because I traded options, just like how I knew that on Friday that the SPY, everybody was talking, oh my God, end of the world. There's no way the SPY is just going to fall off a cliff with 81 billion in options that were going to expire. They held it in this range. It's not even market manipulation. It's just understanding the game. It's like you have to know the rules to the game. And so, of course, it came right into this horizontal support. And at closing, these contracts all expired worthless. Monday dipped down, no big deal. And they're right back at it, so playing the same game again. And so, all these people piled into these shorts when, with last Wednesday's news with the CPI, people get overexcited and they all just got expired. Basically, their contracts expire worthless. And so that's what I would expect. You're going to see this move. Now, the other thing that's interesting and why I'm saying we might not see these tops again. Once you understand the derivatives, once you understand options, you have to understand that also the further out of the money your options contract is, the cheaper it is. So knowing that, I know that the market also doesn't want to see another top, right? Because if they do, then they got to pay out on these crazy call options, and they're not going to want to do that either. So what they want to do moving into October is they want to set up this range in the middle, right? So they're only paying out in the middle. They're not paying out these, these contracts that are, 1,000x on a contract. So keep in mind that let's look at this pattern just to kind of show you why I'm thinking what I'm thinking, right? So you see this little weak rally, we get to the critical target, and we stay in this range, October, mid-October, we just kind of dick around in here until earnings reports start to come out and until after the election, right? And you can see that pattern. If you look at the macro on this, look at what I'm showing you, right? Boom, right around here, right? And you get this 1, 2, 3. See this pattern playing out, 1, 2, and 3. And then coming into end of October, shit kind of wheels fall off the bus for the final capitulation. And then once those earnings reports come out, and I've explained why that's going to be very dire, is because the any company that has 50% or more business overseas, with the dollar being so strong, even though they're profitable, they didn't build that into their guidance for October. So they gave guidance, or for their third quarter, so they gave guidance based on normal conditions. And so what's going to happen is the euro losing value and these world currencies losing value is going to cause this next earnings to reflect lack of profitability, because that all of that money has to be exchanged into dollars. And so as the dollar has run up and those currencies have devalued, you got a perfect mix of a disaster. Plus, you got the fact that people are not too anxious to be buying iPhones and shit like that right now. But as you look around and you see those videos and it's like death cross, end of the world, and all this bullshit, it's like you could look at all these different technicals, but if you don't understand what's going on in the market, in the SPY, if you don't understand what's going on over here, then it's really just bullshit. You really don't know what's going on. And so, you know, if he comes out and surprises, or some kind of you know, news catalyst from around the world, definitely this is a possibility. But if there's no surprises, no shit hit the fan moments, then you're going to see Bitcoin probably consolidate and, you know, sit around here, and then you're going to have one of these pumps, a mega pump probably. And that would be when you come into this pivot line. For me, I'll be trying to tag the top of this pivot line for ETF shorts. If you were to get a further continuation, which I doubt, but it could happen, then you got this next area up here at this 24,000, where you would just be averaging down on those positions. So coming into Wednesday, you can watch Bitcoin around 2 o'clock Eastern time. Watch that news and watch these candles respond. And I guarantee you, dude, promise you, if you are watching it at 2 o'clock, and he doesn't say anything crazy, or the rate hike, so the rate hike is going to come out, it's going to be 0.75. If it's what market expects, you're going to see a pump, right? Then he's going to come out and talk, and he's going to talk for about half hour. And during that time, the market's like, they're going to be like, oh, he said this, buy. Oh, he said that, sell. So you're going to see all this volatility. And what's funny is sometimes you'll just end up in the same spot you started, and then the next day, after everybody's gone home and all the analysts go back to work, then you see the continuation. So that's what you want to play, is the continuation pattern, right? And that's what I anticipate happening. I see all this stuff on YouTube today, like it's so ridiculous, man. You know, like, you know, Bitcoin dumping coming. It's the exact opposite, dude. You're gonna get one more steady move upwards here, because they know there's a bunch of people out there that they're just piling into these shorts. Everybody's shorting right here. They're not going to pay that shit out, man. It's just the way it goes. It's just the same thing as here, right? They're not going to want to, they don't want to pay out all of this. So all they do is reposition. That's exactly what's going to go on here. So anyway, that's what to look for. And so yeah, I'd say Bitcoin, let's look at the move. Say 10%, you could be up 10% by next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. That wouldn't surprise me, man. But it's a very volatile market, so you got to keep in mind when I'm saying that. Always keep in mind, as long as it's data driven, if you have news catalysts, like you go over here, and a news, just to be totally clear, so a news catalyst is like you go over here and you see, oh shit, the German exchange just dumped 5% in a day. That's a news catalyst. You go find out what happened in the news, right? But if that doesn't happen, if you don't see something pop off like that, then you can be pretty sure that things are gonna, you know, move in the direction I'm talking about. It would take something news driven versus being data driven. The other thing to keep an eye on, now watch this, right? I told you about this, and it's playing out exactly like I talked about, only because I understand what is going on with data and news. That's the only reason. That's what gives me the advantage. So it's not like and there's literally hundreds of thousands of people that understand what I'm talking about. They're just not trading crypto. So you see this range? We never got over that range on the VIX. If we broke over this range on the VIX, or if you see this break, that's short on Bitcoin, right? Because that tells you that the market's going to come down. So pay attention to the VIX on Wednesday. That would be your up on your screen. If you want to trade or watch on Wednesday, you would do like this. You'd be like, okay, all right, I'm going to put the VIX up here. I'm going to put Bitcoin up here. Or I'm going to put the VIX up there, and then I'm going to put the SPY over here. And I'm going to watch and see what happens, right? Here. So this is probably from last time I talked about it. So you're going to watch for the pop and drop, right? That's what you're going to watch for on the meeting for Wednesday, when the rate comes out and it is per normal. If it is not 100 basis points, then you're going to see this pop and drop situation, right, for the first half hour. Then after that, he'll come out and speak, and then you will see your continuation. And then Thursday morning, you will see what the market made of everything. That's the real move. The real move is not going to come on Wednesday. But if you watch closely, you'll get a strong indicator. I'll probably do a good update, right? So anyway, man, that's too long. Went on too long. But, and I think I showed you. It's exactly this V shape, right? I mean, it's not fucking rocket science, guys. So anyway, peace.